Vegas, and ESPN, Reno.
On a 1-2, Ohtani. Season. Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club.
I would think it's really important, Adam Hill, as we start hour 2 of Cofield Company. We're on in Reno. It's brought to you by Battleborn Injury Lawyers. 766-1400 is the number. Call from anywhere in the state of Nevada. I would assume for play-by-play voices, they really take those moments seriously. Like, you can't botch a historic call, like a 50-50. And Joe Davis did a really good job there on Dodgers TV. Projected a lot of excitement. Sometimes that doesn't happen. And there's nothing wrong with being really excited and even being a borderline homer. Why not? For something like that, it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, in general, homerism isn't the greatest thing, but there are exceptions.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't. He's not being the guy in. It's interesting because I think one goes too far one way and the other is just is underwhelming. And they've both been longtime voices of their NFL teams. I think Dave Logan is mostly underwhelming with the Broncos, and then Paul Allen is a freaking lunatic with the Vikings.
No. Very unhappy.
By the way, our guy Matt Neverett is going to be calling the Aviators game tonight. Remember, this is the end of the regular season this weekend. Tonight is fireworks night. Yesterday was the last Thirsty Thursday. Tonight is fireworks night. 7:05 first pitch. El Paso, the Chihuahuas, against the Aviators. So get out to the park and watch a game.
And fireworks.
They're
awesome.
Man, I love fireworks. We nearly ended the show and especially our relationship with the Plaza the other day. I don't know what we were doing. I was watching back, and we had Jonathan Josselon on. He's the big guy, the boss there. And you and I got into one of our traditional nonsense arguments over fireworks and then drums. And he was involved, and he just looked at us like, please stop.
I think he enjoyed it.
Please stop. And then Cindy from Sincere Entertainment with Steve Sear jumped in with a question, and I did breathe a sigh of relief. I'm like, I can't get out of this.
I think you liked it. I think you wanted to go back to the argument.
We got to some good conversation. Go check it out on social media. Instagram. You can follow us now on Instagram at ESPN Las Vegas, at Steve Cofield, lots of other spots. The convo with Jossel about the big, beautiful block party, I think was really important to get to.
For sure.
We're big fans of downtown. We're big fans of the Strip. We're big fans of this place, but downtown has to, kind of find its place on big weekends and then rebound from news that maybe is not pleasant, like Life is Beautiful, with new ownership, leaving for now. So they came through with this event at the Plaza.
Yeah, and it's going to be very different. And I think that's the important thing that he's trying to get across. Like, it's not Life is Beautiful. It's not what has been in the past. You're not going to go see the same thing. It's also not as expensive. It's also not as overwhelming in terms of traffic and everything else.
Locking down downtown. The funny thing is I looked at their website and I think they carried over a lot of the information from LIB because it was talking about basically a blackout for phones. I'm like, what the hell goes on downtown? Like nothing works.
Well,
Be warned.
It was hard. There was too many people, and so you couldn't really get a ride share because there's so many people at the same time doing it. It's just a very different experience. And, I think some people like it more. Some people won't like it as much, but it's just important for people to know it's different.
Big Four time.
Battleborn Injury Lawyers presents the Big 4 at 4. Number 4.
May not be the most important game of the weekend, but it's must-watch television with the Coach Prime Shedeur Buffs.
Is it
taking on Baylor? I assume this is Florio who wrote this story, and a lot of it is based in facts. But it does say the Coach Prime effect isn't drawing TV crowds like it did a year ago. Factually, that is correct. They're down 51% from last year over the first 3 games. I mean, to put that in perspective, the second least important in Colorado, it's important, but the second least important game on their schedule, Colorado and CSU last week, got 3.25 million viewers. It was the biggest viewed or the biggest audience for a Western area game. So they're still doing good numbers.
That got Colorado State into the Pac-12.
You think?
Yeah.
I think the announcement came. Maybe they got the big numbers. Maybe it was Colorado State people wanted. They're like, we want to see this new Pac-12 team.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think the Pac-12 was like, oh, look, Colorado State drawing numbers. We know that viewership for Coach Prime is down. Colorado State, though, they're driving traffic. Yeah.
Give me your take on Coach Prime. Another interesting week following the game, an interesting post-game with the players, and there was a lot of stuff going on.
Kids brought their offensive line up for a press conference. Nice. It's a mediocre football team. And they obviously have a lot of attention because of what they're trying to do there and Coach Prime and everything else. And there's interest, but I do believe it's waning. I think it's gone down from last year. I think a lot of people thought they were watching a team that was going to win a national championship. They were, misled and fooled. And I think it's the old, can't get fooled again. And they're not going to buy into a team that's just mediocre.
Number 3.
Number 3.
I got to watch. Well, I watched the second half a lot of Jets and Patriots, TNF on Amazon. You asked, hey, why didn't you watch the first half? Well, when I'm doing a show, I'm not really watching games.
Sure.
So we went until 6 o'clock last night and a drive home. I see the same panel of folks who are kind of breaking down the game. I saw something with Nikki Glaser. How do they use her?
She was like a post-game roast.
Post-game?
Yeah, she
Really?
was on there. I think it was post. Oh, I watched the post-game. I think it was post-game.
Okay. What'd she do?
She was just kind of making comments and jokes and doing somewhat roast material. Obviously not, Tom Brady roast material like she was doing, but obviously she made a big name among sports fans and with her Tom Brady performance. And so I think Amazon was like, hey, let's bring her in.
Fire this?
Hits with Nikki Glaser. Oh. I'm not going to say that Andrew Whitworth looks like Men's Warehouse Shrek or that Tony Gonzalez looks like who my mom thinks about during one of her long baths. Oh. Really, I am so honored to be here tonight with all of these NFL legends and Ryan Fitzpatrick. Or, as your teammates called you, Sacked Galifianakis.
Sack Galifianakis is
yeah. Well, I mean, I like the way she set it up. NFL legends, and then there's Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Right.
That's kind of good.
Like, her material is fine.
But without the audience that's sitting there screaming in the background, maybe they needed to beam it to them, but they're probably too drunk to even understand it.
I would say film it in like a comedy club during the week.
Oh, maybe.
If she's going to do this regularly and just have the audience and have the natural reactions.
Well, you're the king of comedy.
I do study comedy.
I know you do. I'm not mocking on you.
King of comedy is a ridiculous comment, obviously, but I do study stand-up and I follow a lot of stand-ups, and it's almost an impossible job for any stand-up, even the greatest that exist, to do like a no audience roast.
King of comedy critique.
Sure.
King of comedy critic.
Yeah.
Critiquer.
Critiquing comedy. I don't know.
Come on, be smooth. People watching us, we're stumbling and bumbling, rumbling and rumbling.
So yeah, I mean, I just think that to ask somebody to do this with no audience or no participation, anything like that, is brutal for any comedian. So it's just not a fair position to put her in. And then I saw people all over social media. She wasn't even getting laughs. Like, no kid, there was anybody there. What are you talking about?
Yes. Sit in. Get the dump button ready. Let's do it. Number 2.
Number 2.
Patriots. They're not good right now. They were, there's some positive vibes coming out of the first 2 games. They went 1-1. I think everyone's waiting for the moment in the season when Drake May is going to play. Based on what I saw in just a few series, he needs to sit for a little while longer. It was coming real fast at him. Or am I wrong? You know what? They suck. The only way to get better is to go out there and freaking play.
Well, no, because I think one of the reasons they put Drake May in at the end of the game was because Jacoby Brissett was getting killed.
Yeah.
And I
so
think
then the logic is, hey, let's get our project quarterback, young guy, let's get him killed.
No, let's save his body a little bit. Yeah. Not take 4 more hits here on the final drive. And Drake May, you can take a couple, get in there, try to get rid of the ball. Probably not going to be the number 1 defense. Probably not going to be a whole lot of stunts. Just get in there and try to sling it around. And he ended up getting hit a bunch too. But I think those are more on him. And it was a learning experience. And I think after the game, everybody's like, "No, it's time. It's his time." Like, no, it's not. It's not his time.
Yeah.
It was just a little cameo at the end of the game, just get him some work. And I think this is how they're going to continue to manage it.
And I'm assuming last night that Joe Milton, the 3, wasn't active.
No, it can't be.
Okay.
Well, it can be, but you never would.
I almost feel like in this situation, maybe Drake May shouldn't be active and Joe Milton can go out there and take the beating. Although the fear from Patriots management might be Joe Milton could turn out better than our top 5.
We don't know which one our future is.
Well, you know what happens, especially in markets like that. If Joe Milton actually excelled a little bit,
oh, of course,
all of a sudden now we've got a quarterback controversy in the 2 spot.
Yeah, I mean, that you're getting yourself into that position potentially, and that's the position they put themselves in with Drake May last night. If he would have, engineered 2 scoring drives in the last 4 minutes, all of a sudden people are demanding him be the quarterback. It's not really what happened. He was okay, and then obviously today, Jared Mayo comes out and says Brissett is the quarterback until I say he's not the quarterback.
I like it.
Yeah.
Affirmative, authoritative. Number 1.
Number 1.
So people are feeling kind of good about the Raiders' upset victory on the road against the Ravens. Pass game got going a little better downfield. Can any of this work where they can win 9 or 10 games if Zamir White is going for 16 yards a game?
Yeah, I mean, I think it can work because the defense is so good. It's possible. And, again, they have fallen into that thing that we talked about in 2021 where they were not a playoff team, but they had a bunch of breaks. Well, they play 6 of their last 7 games, I think, against backup quarterbacks. And all of a sudden you start to look at the schedule and say, okay, I mean, well, they're playing a backup quarterback this week because the starter stunk, but they are playing another backup quarterback. Look ahead. Tua's hurt. Bo Nix is struggling. Like, all of a sudden, these games that look like they might be a little tougher are a lot easier.
Good. Chance to be a great team.
Yeah. Deshaun Watson is struggling. No, a chance to win games as a not great team.
Great team. Great teams win 10, 11 games.
Yeah. And again, last week they were by far the inferior team and won. And that's possible. Like, those things can happen. But I have said this week a couple times when asked about it, like, I like the response. Nobody around that building was saying, hey, we went out and won that game. We were great. It was, okay, we have a lot of work to do. That was not pretty, not good. That's not how we want to win. Let's get back to work. And so nobody was really celebrating what they did last week, which I think is a good sign. But they can win ugly, and they can continue to do that with some of the teams. But they do want to get their run game going. And Antonio Pierce said he wants to give the ball to Zamir White at least 20 times this week. I actually took that information to Zamir White, and he said, I don't care if I block 75 plays this week. We won.
That's a good attitude.
And that's usually his attitude. So, we'll see how it goes on Sunday. But Derek Brown not playing for Carolina, massive. By far their best player.
Have they explained, we got 30 seconds before break here, but have they explained why they think the run game hasn't been working?
Yeah,
or Zamir White hasn't been
The
working?
offensive line kind of stinks. But right now, I think they're going to get a lot better. Jackson Carter-Johnson will be back soon. Colton Miller, this is his training camp. Missed off training camp. This is his training camp right now. Andre James has asked to do a lot of different things in this offense, the center. He's starting to get a little bit better, pick it up. So they are making moves in the right direction, even if it hasn't showed up on the stat sheet. They have not run for 100 yards total this year.
Got to be able to run it. Got to be able to grind some clock. Have to do it. Maybe it starts against the Panthers.
Traffic is brought to you by Portive Subs. Stop in today or order at portivesubs.com or on our app.